Dun, dun, dun. Hello, nerds. Welcome to Two Idiots Talk About F1. Now, this podcast is for like-minded idiots like us that love to yap about F1 but aren't at all qualified to talk about it. We gossip about anything F1 related, news, memes, Netflix, and everything in between. We also plan on doing a lot of yapping after each Grand Prix. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we can. And because we desperately need experience on our CVs. So sit down, relax, put your headphones on, grab a cup of Red Bull because you're going to need it to listen to us talk. But most importantly, enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast, which actually will also be covering the first episode of the 2024 F1 season. So our first race of the season in Bahrain. Your host for this episode is myself, Kevin, and Charles.
Hello, everybody. It's the one and only Biggie Charles.
So yeah, we've got Biggie Charles here as well with us, honored guest. I guess we'll go straight into it. So before the Grand Prix, obviously, you have your qualifying because you need to figure out which positions to start the race in.
And it's not a surprise that this qualification round was Max as pole position.
yeah. I think we're all hoping for a bit of a change. Red Bull might be a bit lower. But it just.
Apart from those that worship Max Verstappen.
Obviously, yeah. You don't want to disrespect them. The Orange Army, very menacing. So typical qualifying result. Similar to last year in that sense, unfortunately. But in terms of the other part of qualifying, so the rest of the grid, between Max and Hamilton, who was in ninth, there's basically a 1 second gap between all of them. So it means it's it's very tight between the rest of the grid, which... Maybe it's just the start of the year, but I think it should hopefully indicate that there should be some good racing for the rest of the year.
But that's definitely something that's we can look forward into because the broadcaster said that what's important is not only the first race, but also the first 5 races because the cars react in a specific way to each race.
That's it. Okay.
So Bahrain is intense, especially for Mercedes because they have cooling issues apparently.
Yeah. It's not just limited to Mercedes. It's also emigrated to Williams.
Half of the grid.
All the ones that are running Mercedes power units.
Williams.
Yeah, had a few issues.
Williams.
Mercedes also a broken seat for some reason with Lewis Hamilton. Maybe his ass was a bit too fat.
That's a good hypothesis.
All the disappointment.
Should definitely
weighing him down, breaking it.
We also saw. Wait, was it? I don't know if it was during the qualifications, but there was Kevin Magnussen that used a hammer to fix his car.
Yeah, I didn't see that. But it might be. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's true. He starts hitting the car, the chassis.
Oh wow! Damn. Yeah. No, Haas working with a tight budget, as you'd expect.
Kevin Magnussen is actually an engineer.
Yeah,
we didn't know that, but now we
to switch careers. But yeah,
conversion.
So now moving into the Grand Prix on the Saturday, a weird one to do. I don't really know why they do that, but typical race start, lights out, and away we go.
No, not that. That's not how it worked, Kevin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, turn 1 was a bit more difficult for Lance Stroll than expected.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Maybe not expected, but what actually happened.
Expected. When I saw that Aston Martin facing the wrong way around, I was very excited because I was like, damn, old things never change,
The GOAT.
Same as last year.
The
GOAT. He's the one replacing Latifi this year. Latifi, I mean, it's been a while since we've lost him, but,
The one and only. The one that made it possible.
For Max's
also,
first win.
Michael Massey.
Yeah, Michael Massey. We'll miss him.
He's the GOAT. He's like the The goat squared.
The goat squared. Yeah, man. Where are you when you need Michael Massey, bro? Oh,
Poor Michael Massey.
yeah. But yeah,
That's another topic.
So first, first quarter spin with Stroll, it was caused by Hulkenberg just not knowing how to brake. It would seem, and basically smashing his front wing into Stroll. And Hulkenberg had qualified P10 for the Haas, which is very good. But because of that, he went back to the end of the pack because they had to switch his front wing. Womp womp. Now, going back to people that don't know how to brake. We have
dun dun dun.
We have a very familiar candidate. Well, not that they don't know how to brake, but they just don't have luck. Charles Leclerc, who also had troubles braking. Specifically, he kept locking up into turn 10. From what the commentators were saying, it was due to essentially a temperature difference between the tires. So something mechanic with a poor car, again, bad reliability.
Yeah, but you see what I understand, Kevin, here is it's interesting. It's only on turn 10. So there's the mechanical part, there's the skill part, but I feel like it makes a triangle, and at the top of that triangle, there's the spiritual part. And at the spiritual part, it's written karma. Real big karma for Sainz getting assaulted by Ferrari and replaced by Hamilton. Yeah, I think it's the triangle.
I think we're getting somewhere, This has been, it has been a trend for Ferrari to kind of do this, kind of shooting themselves in the foot. And at this point, because Sainz is getting replaced by Hamilton, he doesn't have anything to lose. So that's why you saw so much more fighting.
That's true.
Think, again, this Grand Prix, similar to what we had in Monza last year, where they basically didn't work as a team at all, and they just were really fighting against one another.
You see, what I have a hard time understanding is, I feel like there's a certain preference with regards to Ferrari and Charles. It's kind of like what happened with Red Bull and Gasly, Kvyat, and Albon. There's pretty much there's one driver which they really love, maybe because of performance. Max was performance-wise, he's really good. But Charles, it's kind of disappointing because towards the end of the last year's season and this GP, he underperformed Sainz. So I don't know if Vasseur did the correct move of pretty much replacing Sainz and not Leclerc. And maybe it's because of Leclerc's special relationship with Ferrari that he grew up with, and it seems a bit weird and nuanced, and maybe not the right decision to get rid of Sainz.
Maybe they did it on a whim. they're just they're like, screw it. No, but you're not wrong to say that, because Sainz is a very good driver, but I don't know, they got really hooked in onto Leclerc. And that's why he signed a 5-year contract or something. So they're really, investing in Leclerc.
It's maybe because Sainz doesn't speak Italian. That's my new theory.
You think? Yeah, but Hamilton doesn't speak a word of Italian.
Good point.
He's just there.
So Hamilton's gonna be the second driver.
Hamilton's just there blessed. Hey guys, I'm Lewis.
God bless.
Yeah,
God
wonderful
bless.
driver, but I don't know. Even moving to Ferrari, I don't think is maybe the best move, because of they're just very good at shooting themselves in the foot, and that's what a lot of fans are saying as well. It's just Hamilton's just making a move that's just going to be torturous for him.
It's maybe I was talking to a Italian person, which was very knowledgeable about F1.
Oh yeah.
But he explained to me that maybe it was a big brain PR move.
Okay.
Not for F1, but for Ferrari as a whole. For example, all the Americans, they overwhelmingly support Lewis Hamilton for some weird reason. And so pretty much it's a way for Americans, for the brand Ferrari to have more visibility in America.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know. He's my tennis coach.
Yeah, but he's a sportsman. I suppose there's a link
exactly.
there. Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of Americans, Let's look at
Dun,
Logan
dun,
Sargent.
dun.
Our dear friend Logan Sargent, who in lap 10, for some reason, decided not to turn the car and just locked up and just went out of the racetrack. I don't know what happened there. He didn't even really explain it.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So, from what I understood, and it kind of goes back to once again our best friend Charles Leclerc having brake issues. As I feel like I should propose something, Kevin.
Yeah.
We should do a scoreboard of the shittiest brakings of the season. Since we all know that Max Verstappen is going to win the season, probably. Let's create a new season board with just shitty braking.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think there'll be some pretty good contenders. I mean, we already have 2 at the moment.
Soon 3.
Yeah, 3, yeah, with Hulkenberg.
Yeah, you need to explain.
I forgot about Hulkenberg.
Apart from that, talking about the scoreboard, the one that's pretty much on another galaxy, the one and only, the Dutchman, the I'm not going to say uncharismatic, just the very focused Dutch.
Well, he's just very to the point, you know? And I think...
No, that's true.
I mean, that's his strength. And, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I mean, at one point he had 40 seconds.
Yeah, that was rough, man. He did have a 40-second lead over whoever was behind him. Which is
significant.
He went for a pit stop with that lead and came out still first with a still like 2-3 second gap, which is wild to me because yeah, I mean a pit stop in Bahrain is like 25 seconds roughly, so you know he had enough time to do like a you know pretty casual pit stop and still come out in front, which is...
I mean, he has no contenders.
No, he really doesn't. Honestly, I think he's on for another championship win.
But even Checo.
Yeah, Checo managed to build a gap. He never caught up to Verstappen. It was impressive. You know, I also figured out that Verstappen was gaining 0.5 seconds per lap,
which is
huge.
I think that it's quite... I mean, even though last season was hard for Checo, especially towards the end, I mean, the dude was not even qualifying in Q3. I mean, he just ended up being just disqualified in Q2. Max is once again he doesn't even have a teammate at this point.
No, not really. I mean, he's carrying the team. Checo is kind of falling behind. He's in a lot of pressure, Checo. Like I wouldn't want to be in his place. No. But yeah, it's tough to watch, man.
University's stress enough for me. I don't want to.
Yeah, this is enough. Well, actually, another thing that was kind of tough to watch was Bottas's little pit stop there. Yep. his 52-second pit stop with the Ben 10 team. You know,
Ben 10. That's a very good name for that team.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, yeah. What was it? Stake F1. You know,
I call it the Stabilo.
The Stabilo
because it kind of looks like a highlighter.
You're not wrong there. I like Ben 10 more. But yeah, the Ben 10 team, you know, couldn't change his front left tire in time. Something with like a bolt nut falling off or something like that. We didn't really get to see it on the TV, so it wasn't very clearly explained. But Bottas in the post interview was quite calm about it. But yeah, I mean, maybe they were just trying to attempt the record pit stop, the record longest pit stop.
I would go with that theory. I feel like that's the most appropriate one.
Yeah,
that's why he was so calm.
Yeah, he was used to it.
He was used to it.
He remembered his pit stop from Monaco with Mercedes, where it was a 48-hour basically pit stop to take out his wheel because
they actually had to bring the car back to the factory to take the wheel off of the car, which is incredible.
That's wild. Pretty unheard of.
Definitely. Another incredible moment during the Grand Prix was Yuki fuming and having significant anger management issues over the honey badger.
So this was a pretty big one, because I mean, Yuki has had a history of pretty poor anger management issues. here it's just because of that team call. I think near the end of the Grand Prix, there's like 5 laps left, and essentially the team had an order telling Yuki, okay, you need to give your position to Daniel Ricciardo because you can't overtake Kevin Magnussen, who was in front. And Yuki was behind Kevin Magnussen for a big part of the race, and he just wasn't overtaking him. So that's why that call came in. And then Yuki was very furious about it because it was so close to the end of the race. I think the team did a right move because Daniel was going faster. But obviously, Yuki, let him through, very much complained on the radio, saying like, yeah, whatever, honestly, he's not even that fast. Like, being a bit childish in my opinion. It's just a bit tough to watch. But actually the more interesting part as well was after they crossed the checkered flag, they basically had another altercation.
Yeah, but that was a really dumb one. I didn't even see the utility of having such a dumb altercation.
It was childish again. I mean, that's what Daniel said as well after the race. He's just saying it's very immature.
You see what I have a hard time, and we kind of discussed this before doing the podcast, was what I really saw with Max Verstappen at his early days was his kind of the same immaturity, the same anger, the same emotional energy that came.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the moment where Max became really good and was the moment where he was able to put aside his emotions, even though, don't get me wrong, when you're in a car like flying at 300 kilometers per hour, it's normal that you get emotional. But I feel like especially Yuki has some serious like anger management issues.
I know.
Which for me will really penalize him.
Yeah. Because the whole point of that Visa Cash App, Racing Bulls, MasterCard, PayPal team, that team, that name is horrible. But yeah, that team is basically like a junior team for the main Red Bull team. So
yeah, definitely, yeah.
The drivers there are competing not to bring that team to the top of the leaderboard, but they're competing to drive in Red Bull. And Daniel Ricciardo, who used to be Max Verstappen's teammate in Red Bull, is definitely the favorite. I think that's putting a lot of pressure on Yuki, which explains his incident after the checkered flag, that we talked about earlier. The fact that even after the race was finished and they were not fighting for any points because they were out of the points as well, Yuki just goes for this like crazy overtake on Daniel, which was completely unnecessary. Locking up the tire and everything. It's
that was also shitty braking.
Yeah, that was also pretty bad braking. And this was angry braking. So another one for the leaderboard. That's like how many? Like 4 candidates now.
Yep.
We've got a good roll now.
Hey Kevin, you definitely need to give us your top one now.
Yeah, well, we can do that now. I think this is all the crappy braking there was this Grand Prix. I'd say the first one. We'll start from the bottom. So the bottom, I would say the Hülkenberg incident, because it's quite rare for Hülkenberg to do this. He's usually a very good driver. I would have ranked it higher if it were Stroll that had done it because he's the GOAT. But no, I think Hülkenberg is the least, damaging braking scenario.
That depends on how you see it, especially considering the fact that behind Hülkenberg, there were a couple of cars, and so he without knowingly destroyed the entire like strategy of many teams, such as Alpine.
Oh,
that's again something else. So there was a bit of a repercussion.
Exactly, some repercussions, but I think because it's Hülkenberg, that's why I'm putting it that low.
Yeah, good point.
But after that, I would put Yuki, because it's an anger management issue, so it's something they can work on to improve. But then the next one I'd put is Sargent, because that one was completely unnecessary. I don't know what the hell happened there, what was going through his head.
The thing is, that's also something that I would like to add with Sargent is, even though he's American, did only do it once, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Which, for our final contender, our champion,
our Charles Leclerc, consistent lockups on turn 10. you know, it's I think that's unbeatable for this Grand Prix. It's very impressive,
especially for his level. It's not his first season with Ferrari.
I know, it's a good driver, a good team. Well,
depending on the Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly. and I think it's just the mix of that triangle you mentioned earlier with the karma, the technical side, and the driver. I think it just makes it the worst.
At the beginning, I really thought it was a mechanical issue, but once I saw it, done it when he did it quite I think it was 4 or 5 times, I was like, yeah, no, there's something else going on there.
It's the spirit of Carlos Sainz haunting him.
Yeah, and talking about spirits, the spirit of the French farmers have haunted Alpine this weekend.
They clearly, Alpine have tried to show support for our French farmers, our dear farmers, with their performance.
In the heart, dans le cœur.
In the heart. So with both cars doing a terrible qualifying and then finishing the race P17 and P18.
That hurts.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Definitely brought tractors to the track just to show support to the French farmers, which is very nice. It's very selfless of them, but also, you're here to race, not, do
Kevin, I propose that you send them a little email, telling them, you guys are aware that you guys are not in the same league as farmers.
I think if we send them our little podcast, I'm sure they'll be inclined to answer and give us feedback on our opinions.
We might have an interview with the agricultural department of Alpine.
The agricultural. Yeah, maybe they should start making tractors.
They might be Lamborghini tractors.
Yeah, Lamborghini make tractors, for those that don't know. So, Alpine might as well go down that route. That could work. They could make a lot of money.
Yeah, but I feel like also we need to mention that even though the performances were really poor, especially for a team that was I'm just gonna make sounds ish last year. What happened after the horrible performances was that 2 senior directors, I'm gonna put quotes on that one, resigned.
They quote unquote resigned.
Yeah, let's put a lot of emphasis on the quote unquote, please.
Yeah, and this was announced a couple days after the Grand Prix, so clearly after the race there was a bit of a fight disagreements within the team itself, which just
shady.
Yeah, it's bad, man, and this has happened before as well. If you look at last year in Spa, before the Spa Grand Prix of Belgium, they had the team principal fired. So Otmar Zafnauer, who was the team principal at the time, was immediately replaced by the next person just before the race, which is pretty unheard of. I don't think this has ever happened in Formula One.
I think because right now there was a neuron that connected with another neuron.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have an explanation for this.
Oh, tell me.
You see, do you know what Stalin did during the 1930s? You see the Great Purge.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, let me explain what's happening in my brain. So Stalin got rid of a lot of people he didn't appreciate by various methods.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it to there. But I feel like what's happening with Alpine, it's that they're getting rid of all non-French people. So I mean, if you're non-French, you should acquire French citizenship as quickly as you can. I am afraid for you. I'm afraid for your future. We should definitely send this podcast to all Alpine employees.
Yeah, we can work with them.
Yeah, definitely. Just giving them a heads up on what's gonna happen about their future.
Yeah, just a little.
Well, no, because wait, don't get me wrong, but listen about this. Otmar was he was Hungarian American. So for me, it's the Great Purge, and they're trying to build a only French baguette team.
I think so. They have the 2 drivers that are French.
That's the hardest part.
Who, by the way, hate
That's
hate
the
each
hardest
other,
part. That's the hardest part to get.
Yeah, that was the hardest part, getting the 2 drivers, and then team principal Bruno Famin. Very French name, very French. person, and yeah, now they've replaced actually the two team technical directors, so with a different structure. So I think it's like 3 people. So they divided the team, the technical director role into 3, which is perfect.
French administration.
Yeah, exactly. We can say this for French. You know how it goes. Just divide it so it makes it even more complicated.
Exactly. It's gonna make even a worse tractor.
And I think they should really consider making tractors at that point. So I hope it goes well for them. But with all the drama that's happening behind the scenes,
you're not hopeful.
It doesn't seem like
you're not hopeful.
No, it's not great. So not very hopeful, unfortunately. It'd be nice to see them win, but it really doesn't look like it's going to be the case.
I'm not really hopeful on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, so just for some food for thought, for the next race in Saudi Arabia, another country that respects human rights,
yes,
that is associated with Formula One. We're thinking that maybe Jeremy Clarkson could be team principal of Alpine. Jeremy's done a lot for the farmers in the UK. He's brought a lot of awareness, which is very respectable.
I've just thought about an issue. He's not French.
What's going on? Oh
no.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. He's not French.
Well, we can find a solution. Yeah.
We'll give him the nationality.
The benefit of the doubt. Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But yeah, I mean, on that note, we hope you guys enjoyed our first episode.
And see you in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so this has been Kevin and Charles.
Yep.
And
that's me.
Bye-bye. See you next episode.
Bye-bye.